Hi, hello, and welcome to the third episode of ISLA Land. I'm Tiana Palacios, your host for today, and we are actually starting a new series under ISLA Land, which is called Ambassador Spotlight. So this is a segment where we showcase and talk about the experiences of our very own ambassadors from their home countries all the way to their journey as an international student in Sydney. So today we have our first ever guest, Si Thu, who you can see here. So, Si Thu, would you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Kiana, for having me. I'm Si Thu, and I'm currently studying Bachelor of Medical Studies and Doctor of Medicine at University of New South Wales, Sydney.
Can you say something in your language? Where are you from?
Oh, yeah, I'm from Myanmar, and something in my language, Alama Minglama, which is means hey everyone, hi. Yeah, I'm from Myanmar, and I got to Australia like 2 years ago. Yeah.
So before we begin, I'd actually like to ask you to do the acknowledgement of country, which is for those who are unfamiliar with it, who probably are not in Australia or have never heard of it, who are watching us today. This is basically something that we do to pay our respects to all the traditional custodians of Australia. So, Si Thu?
I would like to acknowledge the Badigal people that are the traditional custodians of the land that I'm on right now, and I would like to pay my respects to the elders, both past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders who might be watching this today.
Yay, thank you. So now we can officially start our episode. So before anything else, we just like to say good morning, afternoon, evening to wherever in the world you are, time zone. We hope that you guys have a great day or evening and that you enjoyed today's episode, whether or not you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or listening to us on Spotify. So just like a quick introduction, because I know that, at this time we're all in lockdown and, the world is pretty crazy right now. So I just want to ask, how are you holding up doing in lockdown?
Yeah, it's definitely been hard because Sydney's not doing great either. We're doing kind of all right at the start of the year, but now, like today, there's like over 1,000 cases today, and I don't see this us coming out of lockdown in Sydney anytime soon. But light in this whole dark world is that vaccination rates in Sydney are going up. But otherwise, I think I'm doing kind of all right. Also because I still have my placement going on. So yeah, that's the only thing that I look forward to every day. But yeah, otherwise,
yeah. So you're not
fine.
Entirely at home. I guess I don't know. We're practically used to it already. Like in the Philippines, we've been in and out of lockdown for the past year and a half. So I guess we've gotten used to just staying at home. But yeah, are there any hobbies maybe or things that you started during lockdown? I know that you started your cooking journey, right? A lot of chefs in ISLA.
I started cooking a lot, especially Burmese food, just a way of connecting back home and just missing home and kind of just fill that void. And baking a lot as well. Yes, last night I made brownies, which is very good in my own opinion. Yeah, I've been cooking, baking a lot, playing a little bit of board games with my flatmates, and yeah, I think that's mainly filling my time up.
When you said you were making Burmese dishes, are these your mom's or your family recipes, or are they just stuff you found online?
Some of them are, but then I try to ask my mom whenever I'm oh my god, I want to cook this dish, right? And she would be like, oh yeah, just put this and this and that. And I want a recipe, how much grams should I put and how much cut should I put? But she's like, just I don't know, just eyeball it. I'm like, I can't eyeball. So some of them are my mom's recipe, but not really. Some of them mostly are from the internet. Yeah. And I would just combine it with my mom's and make kind of my own recipe.
Yeah, I feel like my mom is like that too. I'll ask her, I'll be like, so how much of this do I put in? And she's just like, I don't know, Kiana, I don't measure. I just do it.
I feel like that's an Asian thing where they just eyeball it.
Yeah, it's like they have it in them. Maybe one day we'll be like that in the future. But yeah, so now that we have all the lockdown questions down, we're gonna be kind of moving towards your story as Si Thu. So who is Si Thu? So we're gonna go all the way back. So could you walk us through your childhood, what was life like in Burma before you went to Sydney?
Yeah, sure. So Si Thu was born in 2000. Life in Burma. I grew up pretty alright. I kind of went to like government school and then like changed to an international school. That's where I kind of got an idea of like planning to like study abroad kind of thing. And then kind of how I ended up in currently like studying medicine, but then medicine wasn't really like kind of like my first choice kind of thing. So I grew up kind of like not really knowing what I wanted to do, what I wanted to study. And I feel like most of the people like don't really know. So like around like maybe like 10th grade, when I was doing my O levels, which is like 10th grade exam, I still didn't know what to do. I was kind of interested in like international relations or like politics kind of thing. But then my mom wasn't too keen, like, oh my God, like, which is fair enough because like having a political career in Burma isn't like too great. You could end up in jail, you could end up anywhere. So like my mom wasn't too keen. So I was like, okay, the next best thing, like I'm always interested in science. And then yeah, okay, maybe I'll try medicine out and like see how things are.
So was Sydney, like UNSW, your first choice of university?
Well, I had like a few choices before coming to like Australia in general. I was just like when I was decided to like study abroad kind of thing, I was thinking mainly between like UK and Australia because those are the only two countries that like they have undergraduate medicine, and because in the United States it's kind of like postgraduate medicine where you have to do a degree and then like do medicine as a postgraduate, right? So I was kind of choosing between those two, but then UK has terrible weather. I had like a cousin there, and she was just like, "Oh, like don't come here. It's just depressing every day. It's raining the whole day, blah blah." So I was like, "Okay, UK is like okay, not in my list anymore." And like I kind of need like the vitamin D. I mean, I need sunshine like every day.
Yeah, you can see your window quite bright.
Yeah, I know. I love this room. It's just such good sunlight compared to like my room last year. Anyway, going back, Australia was just like good in terms of like education, good unis, good weather, and like I was like, okay, Australia it is. But then I kind of was thinking about a few unis in Australia, mainly like Monash, UNSW, or like Adelaide, because with medicine, like you can't really choose, like they choose you kind of thing. You can't be picky unless like you're like really good with your boss and like you're like, okay, you got offer from everything, and like I'm like I choose you kind of thing. So UNSW was, to be honest, like the first offer that I got for medicine. And then I was like, okay, like I'm done. Like Sydney's great. I had like a few cousins here as well. So I'm gonna be in close proximity with them as well. So I was like, okay, Sydney it is. And like then like before I've never been to Australia before I started studying. So I got to Sydney and I fell in love with it. Like the weather's great, there are beaches, there's so many hikes and like around there's like national parks all around and like yeah. I feel like I never really regretted like choosing Sydney or UNSW. And the rankings are great as well. The other thing, yeah. They're I think top 50 university in the world.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
In medicine. In medicine.
I actually want to ask now that we're talking about like medicine and you picking UNSW. Let's say there are people watching who are also like unsure of what they want to study. Like I know I was as well. It's quite like I feel like that's also a very Asian thing. Like I have friends who say that they want to take up international relations or like humanities courses, and their parents are all like, "No, science," or something like that. Yeah. So if there's someone watching who is probably going through the same thing as you are, or people who are kind of hesitant to do medicine because of all the stigma around studying medicine, like it being super hard and the sleepless nights and all that, like what would you tell them?
Yeah, it's definitely important that medicine's the right thing for you because first of all, it's such a long degree, and like second of all, it's quite an expensive degree as well. And that was like my parents' main concern. My parents were not medicine was okay, they're okay with medicine, but then they kind of wanted me to kind of do engineering kind of thing because like they were like, are you sure you really want to do medicine, because it's like a 6-year course at UNSW and also it's a little quite expensive, and they just didn't want me to be like halfway through and kind of be like, oh, I don't really want to do this and like drop out kind of thing. So they're like, are you really sure? So yeah, it's so important like to know that medicine's the right thing for you. So for me, I was interested in science, as I said before, but just to like make sure that this is like kind of like the right thing, I kind of like tried different things out, kind of like shadowing doctors like in high school and like see what being a doctor is kind of like all about. like volunteering here and there, and like in outreach programs, and make sure that like you know what medicine is, and like and that it's the right fit for you.
I also wanna like ask in relation to your degree, like with COVID and everything, you said that you still have like placement and stuff, but how else has COVID really impacted you and how have you coped with that? Because I know that medicine, you have a lot of like on-campus things as well, right? Like you have to do like labs and like
Yeah.
practical things.
Yeah, it's definitely impacted in terms of like, so COVID started last year. So like last year we were supposed to have our hospital in second year like every 2 weeks, but we didn't really have any kind of a clinical experience last year. So all of the classes last year were online, and I have a lot of friends who are like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be treated by a doctor who was trained or Zoom and like had no clinical experience. But then we kind of made up for it like this year. So in Sydney, COVID kind of was okay, like at the start of the year. So everything was kind of normal. We went back to hospital. Our placement were going all right, but definitely was not the case for a few of my friends who kind of went back last year with the at the peak of COVID. They went back to their home countries and they couldn't really get back in. So they definitely missed out a bit of clinical practice, but then they'll definitely be making up for it like at the next half of the year. For us, like it wasn't too impacted. Like this year, we went back to hospital. There were still like some classes that were online, like lectures and stuff, which is fair. Like, but yeah, it wasn't too impacted. But then now that COVID starting again, some of the rotations and some of the hospitals which are in kind of like areas of concern. The hospitals aren't really letting some of the med students back in. If first of all, you have to be vaccinated. But then even if you're vaccinated, they aren't really letting a lot of the students back in because we're kind of in like third year and like they're kind of like prioritizing fifth and sixth years kind of thing. So some of us aren't like back in. So it's kind of like varying degree that our degrees kind of continuing at normalcy, but then it's not as impacted as other students in other degrees because most of my friends have been able to come back because they're healthcare workers,
Yeah.
like back to Australia. So not as impacted as like Kiana, who wasn't like able to come back, I guess.
Yeah, I know that like med students have a like a higher priority med tech as well.
Yeah.
To fly back into Sydney. Did you see that meme where it was like students in the future like telling like their future kids like you should take care of your health because your future doctors like fell asleep during Zoom class.
I have
You
seen
see
like
it,
yeah,
yeah.
we've been like memed a lot of, but what can we do? Like we're trying our best and like catching up on all the like missed experiences, but I assure you that your future doctors are as well trained as the doctors today, if not more.
Oh, you should look for Dr. Sin in the future.
Definitely. UNSW students, UNSW med students
In
are the way to
general,
go.
yeah, it's like a one package deal, like all of you put together. But I'm actually like really curious. When you say that you have like your placement and like, what do you actually do? Like, do you just go to the hospital and then you like shadow doctors or?
So yeah, depends on what rotation you are. So we have different rotations, and normally like we rotate around different departments like cardiology, respiratory, and all that. And what do we do? So yeah, mainly like in the morning we would some days start really early, like 7 a.m., which is kind of annoying. Like
That's
7
what
a.m.
time
walk
I start
rounds.
whenever we have ISLA. Stop complaining.
Oh, okay, sure. But it's kind of like every day, not every day, but like for the years we're like we go to the hospital like 3 days a week, and then yeah, it's just ward rounds and like whatever experience. Like it's very opportunistic learning in terms of like it's very self-directed as well. You'll like, you need to be proactive in things, so you need to go up to doctors and be like, oh my god, I don't know this. Can you teach me this? Or like ask them questions and all that, but that's mainly self-directed. But then we also have like clinical tutorials where the doctors from the hospitals would teach us stuff like theoretical or like practical kind of like examinations and all that as well.
So it's very hands on.
And yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely very hands-on. We go into the wards, talk to patients, do examinations, and like yeah, mainly shadowing doctors. But then yeah, and we also have like terms like what I just finished is my society and health term at UNSW, which is kind of like exploring a lot more about social and cultural aspects of health. Because when we practice medicine, it's not just about the biomedical kind of stuff, like this happens, like symptoms and all that, we have to
Yeah.
take into considerations. There's social and cultural aspects of health. And like the last time I did was with homeless health. And then we kind of like went around the city, talked to homeless people and like see if they need any help with like accommodation or like any medical attention. So it's actually really eye-opening and really fun as well.
Would you say that medical shows accurately like depict what it's like?
Depends on what show you watch. For example, like before getting into medicine, I loved Grey's Anatomy. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna be a surgeon. Like this is it. Like, okay, I wanna be
Like this is my
I wanna be
dream. Like I got
yeah,
it.
I wanna be Dr. Yang. I'm gonna be a cardiothoracic surgeon kind of thing. But no, it's definitely not the same because they displayed a lot more of like, drama side of thing. Up until some point, I feel like some of them are true. There are like reality TV shows, like there's a new TV show on I think Channel 7, Nurses. That took place in like the hospital that I'm like placed in right now. They
What
just
if you
showed it like
actually
a few
appear like in the background?
maybe in the background. Yeah, that I saw the camera crew when they were taking shooting. So like shows like that display definitely like up until certain degree like of
Yeah.
what's really involved around healthcare.
So if you watch it, guys, make sure to look out for him. Like
I
this
feel
is your
like I wouldn't
TV
be in
debut.
it.
Your famous era. I'd like to talk a little bit more before we go back to your life in Myanmar and like adjusting to Sydney. Just wondering, other than your studies, because as they say, like medicine is very time consuming and there's so many things to do. What do you like to do in your free time? So obviously, other than cooking and baking, and like what are your extracurricular activities? So like, how do you basically your life outside medicine? Pretty much.
Not that I have too much life out of medicine. Medicine's like actually like quite consuming in terms of like your time. So like it's quite of important to make the time for other stuff that you love doing because a lot of the people that I know kind of stopped doing, including me. I kind of stopped doing a few things that I used to do in high school because you
Like,
can't just keep up with everything. Like before I used to play quite a bit of sports and like I used to swim, all not every day, but like 3 to 4 times a day. That was also like I just wanted to grow
three to
taller,
four
which
times
didn't
a
really work
day?
out. No, a week, a week,
It's like, wow, how
a week. No, I did not have that much time. A week, or I used to play tennis as well, but then I kind of haven't really like played much sports since I got to uni. I used to go to gym when they were open before COVID, go for runs. I've kind of like got into running because it's just a good exercise and like something you could do even like in lockdown and stuff. And Sydney has such great parks. Like in Burma, like not dishing on my own country, but like we don't really have much parks or stuff to like run around. There's like in my city, there's like two places that everyone kind of goes to like for morning or evening runs. But here, like everywhere, there's like such nice parks and like such nice hikes as well. Kenna, you should definitely do those like when you get to Sydney as well. But yeah,
will
that's
my
something that I got
stamina
into
hold up
hiking.
though? My stamina's
Hiking's
pretty
really
bad.
fun. Like the national parks are really pretty. Or go to the beach when we could. Cooking, baking, something I got into recently as well. And also I got involved in like different societies and clubs at uni or like apart from uni, like City of Sydney ISLA as well, which kind of keeps my time kind of occupied.
Fun fact, Si Thu and I are actually co-leaders for one of the sub teams.
Yeah,
So,
it's been so many times that I have to like put up with her in meetings, but yeah.
oh, okay. Okay, sure. But anyways, let's now go back to Myanmar and Burma. Are there any things that you specifically miss from your home country? Like, let's say there's like Burmese people listening to this as well who miss Myanmar and want to like reminisce. What would you want to?
I definitely miss the food, as you might have figured out already.
Oh, should
Um,
we plug your Instagram account?
no, we should not. We should not. Food was something that kind of like tied our family together because we used to have like dinners and like dinners almost every dinner together, and like kind of that reminds me of home and like family. And apart from that, I guess nature. We have like great places like to travel and stuff. and definitely the people, like my family, my grandparents, and like my extended family.
Did you have like calls with your parents and your siblings and stuff?
Yeah, like I've been calling them a lot more than usual because during lockdown, I kind of have not much to do, so like I usually
Mm-hmm.
call them when I'm like eating lunch or something. Before I didn't call them like as often because I'm just like busy with life here kind of thing.
So they're probably really happy that you're on lockdown. So we can talk to them again.
Maybe.
Yeah. You have siblings as well, right? Like you have a
I have your
sister.
sister. Yeah, she's like 4 years old.
And she's older than you?
Older, yeah.
She and like the rest of your family, like I know you said that your parents were kind of hesitant at first, but were they like really, really supportive of you pursuing medicine and studying in Australia?
Yeah. I mean, if I was like real, I was so determined in like doing medicine. So like, I don't think there's any parents if like a child is like really want to do medicine, they would be like, oh my
Okay,
god, no, you
honestly,
couldn't be
yeah.
a doctor kind of thing. Yeah,
That's good. At least your parents supported you. I'm sure they're still supporting you right now.
yeah,
Actually, I was actually thinking about it. You said that it's a 6 year course, right? And
yeah.
you're in third year, so you have 3 years left, which is like means you graduate 2024.
24.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
can't math. So that means I graduate first before you, and you got in
When do you
university
graduate?
before me.
When do you graduate?
2023.
Oh, your degree's 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you, Kiana. Yeah, that's
I
what I
was
mean by
like,
medicine such a
yeah,
long degree. And then like it doesn't stop after those 6 years either.
yeah,
We continuously have exams and like trainings all
residency.
throughout, yeah, for like the next probably 10 years. Like people ask me like, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna specialize in? Or like, are you gonna go back to Burma? I'm like, that's kind of like in 10 years time, and that's like future Si Thu's kind of like
Problem. It's a
problem to deal
later
with right
problem.
now. Yeah, right now I'm just like focusing on what's like right, like exams and like what not what I have right now.
Yeah, like the focus right now is like finishing my content for this week. That's my problem now. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a later problem. But then I also want to ask, going back to Burma and Myanmar, are there any places in Sydney that remind you of Myanmar? Maybe restaurants or anything?
There used to be one restaurant in Surrey Hills, but they closed down early last year, which was kind of like my go-to place when I kind of like miss home. And back then, like I was living in college, so I didn't really cook or anything. So I would go there like with a few of my
Mm.
friends if I kind of like miss the food, but they closed down, which is very sad. Another one's like in Blacktown. I've never been there. It's kind of rare, like Burmese restaurants. There's this in terms of food, there's this auntie kind of who cooks and sells Burmese food and kind of delivers. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think there's anything that kind of reminds me. I mean, there's a lot of Asian food around, which kind of makes up for the like my me missing Burmese food, I guess.
What's your favorite Burmese dish? Because you've been like talking about food a lot, but you haven't been like
um,
name dropping anything. So what?
okay, I think coconut noodle. It's kind of similar to laksa. Do you know laksa?
Yeah.
A little similar, but kind of like coconut curry noodle kind of thing.
So it's white.
Oh, it's not white. It's yellowish because it's from the chili and the coconut milk kind of mix.
Is Burmese
Yeah.
food like more like spicy as well, or is it like not?
When people ask me what Burmese food is, there's something like I usually say it's like kind of like a mix of like Chinese, Indian, and Thai, which doesn't kind of make sense because they're totally different cuisines. Totally
Yeah, like
different,
what?
nothing to relate. But then we have different dishes that kind of relates to like Chinese origin, or kind of like
Mm,
curries are like kind of related to India, but like
India.
salads and stuff are like kind of related to like Thai salads kind of thing, noodles. Some are like just I don't know what the origin are, but like I'm just seeing like it's a little similar and like quite similar to some of the Southeast Asian food.
Do you have a favorite like childhood memory? One that you will never forget. Like if you think of Burma, like this is immediately like the first memory that comes to mind.
Hmm. A very good question, Kiana. There's no, I feel like not one memory, but I would say like times that I traveled with my family
within
within
Myanmar?
Burma, the scenery and like stuff. I think those are stuff I wouldn't really forget.
Yeah, if someone
Yeah.
were to visit Myanmar, like let's say like COVID is like over, you don't have to worry about that anymore. If someone were to visit Myanmar, what would be your like suggested itinerary for them? Like what should they eat? What places should they go? Let's say that you have to plan like a 1 day trip for this person.
A 1 day trip around
How
the
would
country. That's a lot.
okay,
To
no, like
cover everything.
okay, fine. In general, like an itinerary of places where they should go and like they
Sure.
have to go and have to eat. Where would they be?
Sure. To be honest, now isn't a great time, even without COVID. But if I have
In
to,
a utopian like world where nothing bad is happening, where it's all good, like it's
I would
perfect.
definitely go to Bagan, where it's like kind of like a ancient city and a lot of temples and a lot of pagodas. And would definitely go to Mandalay because that's where all the good food is, and it's kind of like an ancient city as well. That was once the capital of the country, but yeah, and Yangon because that's the most, I guess, place that people usually have to. And I guess you can't really escape from going to Yangon because that's where the international airport is kind of. So
Oh,
yeah,
so
there's like a
you're
lot
gonna
of
be there
pagodas as
anyway.
well. Yeah, so a lot of pagodas, I must say, like in Burma. Like yeah, we were once called like the Golden Land because there's just a lot of like golden stupas and like pagodas
Yeah, I remember
everywhere.
like you showed us a picture, right, in one of our meetings where it was like the gold city or something, and someone asked if it was like real gold, and you guys were like,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it is a lot of all of them are real. Most of them are real gold, but there's still like beaches and stuff as well. Yeah, one thing I like about the beaches in Burma is that the water is warm, and unlike the beaches in Sydney, where the water is so rough, I can't really swim. It's so cold any time of the year, even in the summer. But yeah, the one thing there's not too many beaches, but then the beaches there, one or two of them are like pretty nice.
Okay, so that's Si Thu's like dream itinerary for someone who's visiting
Have
Myanmar.
you visited Burma?
No, no, it's just my dad. I
Okay.
haven't been there. Do you have any like fun experiences like since you started med? Like maybe like a funny story or like a memorable experience. Like I don't know, like during class, like your prof called you and you didn't know what to answer. Or are you like that good student
Um,
that knows everything?
oh, I'm definitely not a good student. I am probably not gonna lie, the dumbest math student that you will meet.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Like yeah, the pre-COVID world where we had events and
I think everyone loves the
um
pre-COVID word Sifu.
I know, but like we had like Met Camp and like Met Balls and all that. So I really,
Oh, I
really
like
like
med
that.
ball. Is that like an actual like gala event, like where you have to dress up and then there's like cocktails and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, that's so
And I think
fun.
Met Camp from first year, I think Met Camp was the highlight because
What do you do
it
there?
wasn't like basically get drunk.
Yeah, it's like another way to say you drink.
Yeah, and like get to know people, and it's kind of like in the I think first or second week of uni, so just getting to know people. It's pretty fun, and I met most of my friends there, like pretty close friends with a lot of the people that I was in the same cabin with, and it was like 2 days, and I think that's a highlight of last year.
That was fun. Oh wait, that ball sounds so fun though. Like I always have like I want to do like in those like Western TV shows like Gossip Girl and stuff where they have those gala
Oh
balls.
yeah,
Yeah, it seems like so
we were
much
gonna
fun.
have like we didn't have one last year, like netball, but we were gonna have one this year. But then with COVID again, I think it's like supposed to happen in like July, but he postponed to like December,
Oh,
which
it's
is during
okay.
the break.
It's fine. But at least you guys will have it. I don't think we have anything like that. So we have an ISLA.
Yeah. Another thing is that UNSW has such great clubs and societies, unlike other uni. So, and our clubs and societies have
Wow.
a lot of events, a lot of fun events. So, if you ever decide to study anything really, like in Sydney, UNSW is the way to
Wow.
go. They have
Okay.
such great student community.
School promo. We got it. Be
I'm
like
not getting
PR
paid or anything.
if you were to promote. like clubs and societies in UNSW? Which one?
I would promote the clubs that I were in, but that's not really fair.
But the
But
UNSW,
we
a
have like clubs
CN.
for yeah.
Funny story, guys. Si Thu and I actually met kind of before we joined
Unknowingly.
ISLA. So it was really funny because were we in the trial interview where we had to talk about legal mate?
I don't think we went, no.
Okay, so basically in our first like meeting, after we found out we were like co-team leaders and stuff, I was scrolling through my like Instagram stories from the past and I see a picture and it's Yu's face. So apparently last year, like no not last year, right? Last
Last
year.
year, yeah.
Yeah, so last year I attended an ASEAN like conference for to gain points for GLP at Macquarie. And it just so happened that Si Thu was the host of that like whole event. So at that time, I said that I woke up like really, really early and I just took a random picture of the screen and it just so happened to be him. And it was really
Just
funny. I
probably saying
showed
like this is such a boring event or something, right?
no, I said like I was gonna play lo-fi like in the background, so it's not just
Oh.
people talking, but
yeah, UNSW has so many societies. We have like actually like we have like dog appreciation society,
yeah,
tea and coffee society.
I think Eric
like
spoke about that as well.
yeah, we have over 300 societies and clubs. Like you can imagine it, like we have it.
Yeah, I feel like actually a lot of universities, like I feel like that's also the difference between Australian universities and others is that they have so many options for you. Like if they don't have it,
Yeah.
you can make it. There's
Yeah.
literally like it's so inclusive and it's really like aimed to whatever makes you comfortable and wherever you
Yeah.
feel like the most included.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's also important, like for anyone who's like planning to starting their new journey in Sydney,
Yeah.
is to get involved in those clubs and societies because that's how you kind of like make friends. And a lot of my close friends are also from like societies and stuff that I met because a lot of people complain that, oh, I can't really make friends in like classes, especially with like online uni, right? Where because you're just like in the Zoom room and like no one opens their camera, you don't even know what they look like, and it's just kind
Yeah.
of hard to make friends. I was kind of lucky because like in medicine, we are kind of like in the same class and same courses throughout.
Yeah.
And like I see their face like five days a week. So you kind of like get close as well.
Yeah.
But it's different, it's a different story for other courses, I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely like relate with that. And also like in addition to that, like coming from because we're both from like Southeast Asian countries, right? And I feel like the difference also with Philippine universities and like Australian universities is in the Philippines. I don't know if it's the same in like Burmese universities, but they're group based. Like everyone who goes into university are all like the same age and they're all like the same like batch, like high school batch, and
Yeah.
they're grouped with people doing the same degree. But in Australia, you're really put with people who come from different degrees, people who come from different like age groups. And so I feel like that could be one reason why people find it difficult to make friends because you could be classmates with someone so much older, so much younger than you that you find it so difficult to have common ground. We spoke about it like in a different episode as well, but like clubs and societies is really a great way to make friends and joining like different.
And like you all have like the same background or like say like if you come from Philippines, like there's like Philippine society and like whatever. And like if you have the same interest, like you could find people with the same interest as well. So I think it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, and you could also join like stuff outside your uni, like ISLA.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's talk about ISLA now. Like how has your experience been ISLA? Because I know that they're going to be recruiting in 2022. So if you guys are interested, and since this is the ambassador spotlight, talk about your
definitely fantastic because of my co-team leader. She's fantastic.
Wonder who your co-team leader is.
I think it's such a great opportunity as well because we have a lot of trainings and all that, and like you see people you wouldn't usually meet outside of uni because it's such a diverse group, right? Like we have people from like colleges and other courses as well, just not from the same uni as well. So it's good to get to like expand your network as well. And you get trained in a lot of things from like project management, cultural awareness, cultural intelligence, and like all that. You get to do events like to improve international students' lives in Sydney. If that's what your passion is, just like kind of like help out other students as well. So yeah, definitely would recommend.
Yeah, and I think it's also like going back to the topic of making friends. I feel like making friends in Islam is also like a good step forward because like it's more like because you guys see each other like so many times. Like, you work
Yeah.
so closely together, like even outside our weekly or like every other week, like training sessions,
Yeah.
we also have like meetings outside of that. We have constantly messaging and bugging each other for things that we have to do. So I definitely recommend the program as well. And for that, you guys to join our different events. So we have a bunch of them
Yeah.
coming soon.
Join
So
our Discord, like our Facebook and Instagram.
yes, we will be putting them in the description. And you're probably watching this on one of our channels. So if you haven't yet, click whatever button it is there to subscribe, like, follow, whatever. We have one last question because we're running out of time. So I just want to ask the question that we asked to every single person who joins us on Islala Land, which was actually recommended by you. Your question. You recommended this question. It's only fitting that you answer it. So I want you to like look at the camera and like address your younger self, like, "Hey, Si Thu from how many years ago?" And what would be what you want to tell? Wait, okay, again, I'm losing my English. So pretend you're talking to your younger self, like Si Thu from some years ago while you were still in Burma or wherever, and tell that younger Si Thu what you want to tell. Wait. Okay.
Also, I didn't know that was the last question.
No, that's
okay.
the last question. Okay, I want to say it properly. So look, so talk. What is something that you want to tell younger Si Thu if you had the chance about like studying in Sydney, about studying medicine, about being an international student, anything?
Get out of your comfort zone. Don't be shy. Do whatever you want. There's nothing wrong in trying out different things, and like it's always okay to make mistakes. And yeah, there's always a second try.
Well, great advice. Works for everyone. I feel like not just young Si Thu. But anyways, and that concludes our episode 3 for Ambassador Spotlight under ISLA Land. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you have any more questions for Si Thu regards to studying at UNSW, studying medicine, or questions about Myanmar or Burma, I guess, you can also just let us know by messaging our social media accounts, International Students for Sydney on Facebook and Sydney.int students on Instagram. And we will also be posting a highlights video of this episode soon, so you could also comment it down there, or maybe just send Si Thu a message. Like, just hit him up. DM him. Maybe they would want like some recipes from you too. Si Thu cooking show
yes. If
coming
you want
soon.
Burmese recipes, you should hit me up.
Search him up.
Or if
Si
you just want
Thu
to hit me
Zin.
up,
Yeah, so that he
just
finally has like
promotion.
yeah,
my
like
DMs are open.
like a life outside of uni. Just give him someone to talk to. So he's not just studying all the time.
Thanks for having me, Kiana, by the way.
Yeah, no worries. We had fun talking, and I learned a little bit more about Myanmar, yes, and what it's really like to be studying medicine. So I did like STEM in high school, and then as soon as we started all the science stuff, I was like, yeah, no, not for me. But yeah, that's all for today's episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for our future episodes under Islam and as well as our next episodes for Ambassador Spotlight. Wonder which ambassador will be spotlighting next. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, whenever it is you're watching this. Eat your meals. Stay hydrated. Right, Mr. Future Doctor? Very important.
Yes, stay hydrated, stay safe. Bye, guys.
Bye!